Okay, welcome back to another one of my videos. Today, I decided to make some wood rings. I have made some in the past, but people were wondering what the process was like, so I figured I'd show it. So first off, I'm getting some of the tools I need, picking out some wood. I think that's the one I end up deciding to do. It's the darker wood. It's actually one of my favorite woods to work with because it just works real nice. So once I got my wood, I cut a strip. Well, in this case, I cut two strips out because I'm making two rings, but you only need to cut one strip about the width you want your ring to be. I wanted one thin and one thicker. So after that, I put it in some water and let it soak overnight and get it all nice and round. I'm training it with a socket wrench that I got. And after that, I tape it up and make sure it's nice and tight, and then I leave it to dry for a day or two just to make sure it's all dried out. And after it's all done getting dried out, I take the tape off. The next part I'm going to do is I got another socket wrench to match the ring size that I want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it over those socket wrenches about 3 or 4 times, depending on how thick you want your ring to be. And after that, I cut off the access of that, which is what I'm doing right now. And then the next part is I start sanding the ends to make it more paper thin so it just glues better together. So I got my socket wrench and I'm just keeping it tight and gluing little by little until it wraps completely around itself. And this is the beginning of the ring, I suppose. See, it's starting to take that shape, but it's still got a long way before it looks all pretty and neat. I kind of glued it to the socket wrench, so it took me a minute to get it off, but I do. And so there it is. Now what I have to do is shape it to make it look more like a ring instead of just a circle of wood, And this is what takes the longest, I would say, in the ring process, is just sanding the ring, which is, I do it 2 times. One is shaping the ring. The second time is polishing the ring. And I'll get to that in a second, but this takes a while. And I'm doing it in little 8 directions, so it keeps it nice and even. What I'm doing is I'm not only sanding it to make it look like a ring, but also sanding it to the width that I want it to be at. I normally save a lot more just so I have room to play with, and so I just have more to sand. Right now, this is just making it all soft and smooth on the outside. Just saves a little bit more time and less strain on my fingers because sanding does kind of take it out of me after a while. So I'm sanding and some more. Now the next part is the gluing. So I use super glue, which seems pretty odd to use, but it's nice and strong and it holds the ring and makes it nice and shiny. So I put in about 8 coats of this. Now this is when I start to get a little wonky with my videotape. I don't know, I said videotape, I meant recording. But I lose some of the recording, so you don't get to see all the layers being applied. But I mean, you're gonna get the gist of what you see. I put layer and layer and layer on it and drying it. And that spray you see me spraying on is just a accelerator to help the glue dry faster, so I don't have to wait every layer before it dries again. I'm doing this outside because it needs to breathe, because there's a lot of potential harmful chemicals, so just staying safe, So if you guys were to try this, and just make sure you're doing this part outside. So after that, this is what it kind of looks like after all the layers of glue are on there. It looks a little rough, you know? Doesn't look all that shiny. Just kind of looks like a glare almost. So what is the next part is I kind of shape it still, because the glue kind of dried in bumpy spots and all that stuff. So I have to smooth it out, shaping it once again using that little tool. That tool has worked wonders. I remember when I was doing it without that, and it was just completely by hand with a sandpaper. This just takes one less step away, you know, just work a little less harder. Now, it doesn't look shiny right now, but it will. Just takes a minute. Well, it takes longer than a minute, which is why I don't tend to make that many rings too often. I would say 70% of making a ring would be polishing it, which is what you would be seeing right now. So right now I'm starting with a higher or a lower sand grit. I believe that's about 120 or 220. And I'm doing that until I get all the rough edges. Like, this is the most of the cleanup, you know. And I know when to stop when there's like a there's no more scratch marks. So I believe I'm about done with this paper. So I'm going to switch to a higher paper. See, it's looking gray. See all that stuff on my fingers. So now I'm going to the micro mesh. Micro mesh is just very fine sandpaper. And I believe I go through about 9 different ones, which take forever. And my thumb and finger get really sore after this process. I'm speeding up the process right now, but I'm gonna say this alone took me about an hour and a half to do. The whole process probably took me 2.5 hours if I were to go straight into it with no breaks. So it tends to tire me out because of all the sanding that I have to do and polishing. So each sanding or each micro mesh I use, each layer, it starts to get a little bit more and more shiny. And you'll see at the end, it's a big difference in the way it looked before. Also, by the way, if you guys are liking my videos, please like and subscribe if you want. Maybe tell a friend about my videos and just like send it to someone randomly. That would be kind of cool. Maybe if you just texted a random person and sent them this link, that would be funny. If anybody that does that, you gotta let me know. So I believe I've got 3 more layers left. I don't know why I'm saying layers. It's 3 different sandpapers. I slow down the process a little bit just to show you the ring, how it's doing now. It's getting a little bit more shiny, but it's just not quite there yet. Those last, I would say 2 micro mesh do a big difference for some reason. And those 2 micro mesh, it doesn't even feel like anything. The feeling is kind of like, you know, those glass wipers that come with glasses? You know, how it's all soft? It's like that, but like a thicker paper of it. It's weird. There's like nothing. It's just smooth. So I don't understand how it does anything, but it does. It does wonders. So that's the last one. Just fixing all that up. Reaching the end. Let's see the final reveal. I don't know why I can't say that word right now. But there it is. There's my wood ring. Now, camera doesn't really do this justice because it just looks better in person. One thing I do like, which I'll be able to show here, is showing it when the sun hits it. The sunlight hits it, and it looks great. I don't know. I've always liked wood rings. They always looked nice to me. And so I just thought it'd be cool to learn how to make them, and here we are. Well, I'm reaching the end of the video, so I'm going to say my goodbyes, and I'll see you next time.